Welcome to the Break the Chains, Find Your Flame podcast. My name is Steve Wolpolnick. I'm a licensed mental health counselor and one of the founders of the Promethean Project. Our guests are people who have broke the chains of their limitations and found the strength of their potential. We offer their stories as inspiration and as guidance to help others navigate their quest to find their flame. Welcome to episode 3. Today on the podcast, we have a friend of mine, Jonny Tran, a Marine, leader, an all-around awesome guy. Jonny and I first met when he was in high school, a youth leadership program through Springfield College, and we'll talk a little bit about that. It was called LACES, and that's the first time I encountered Jonny. Really vibrant, awesome guy, really funny, and you'll hear a little bit about how that's followed him around in his journeys through leadership training, building a sense of community, the rules of positive attraction. We kind of touch upon everything. Jonny's a Renaissance man. He dabbles in a little bit of everything, and he excels at everything he puts his mind to. So catching up with him today was really fun, really exciting to see what's on the horizon for him. And really good to sit down with someone who's so positive in the face of negativity and has connections to a network of awesome people. He's just a good guy. His mind's in the right place. He can kind of interpret things and adjust to things really quickly and at a good pace. And, you know, he loves giving back to his community. He loves the people who he serves. He loves the people who he trains. Just a warmth of a guy. If anyone really was the epitome of warmth and caring, it was Jonny Tran. It comes through in the interview too that he's really just an all-around good guy. He's not paying me for this either, and I couldn't be more proud of him. So I'll just stop gushing for now, but we have a good podcast coming up. We sit down, we talk about all these things. We talk about his role in community and how community plays a really good supportive role in his life and the importance of that to heal or to kind of motivate towards goals and achievements. So without further ado, episode 3, Jonny Tran, starts now.
In a world where humanity's potential is imprisoned and locked away, our only hope is to break the chains and find our flame.
You got me just in time too. I just got over allergies this whole week. It was just I couldn't talk at all and had stuffy nose.
Yeah, the allergies are really terrible, especially with the weather we've been having. Mm-hmm. They've just been killing people over there.
Yeah. I have a Jeep, so my doors are usually down, so I'm just getting everything. I'm like, oh.
All right, so Jonny Tran, episode 3. Welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming in, man. It's been a while since I've seen you. I know we've bumped into each other a couple times.
Across a couple paths.
Eating some steak. So to start off, I just want you to kind of give us a summation of, not your life story, because that could take a while, but just really who you are and kind of your journey to get to where you've been and what you're up to now.
Oh, man, I'm still building right now. It's constantly building. But let's see. Oldest in the family. I can start with that. I've always been not in the spotlight, but looked up to as the older brother, the older cousin. Everyone had high expectations for me, so I was kind of not pushed into it, but something I was more, I guess, got comfortable with. But let's see. I've been through different leadership programs. That's where I met you, through a leadership program at Springfield College, and then it just blew up from there. Now running a restaurant. I had a meal prep business for a little bit. Had to stop for a little bit because I got too busy. Let's see. I got into real estate, and I'm a United States Marine. So.
I love how you just dropped the last line. Oh, I'm a Marine.
Yeah, it's like no big deal, you know.
It's
Like,
awesome stuff, man. So, well, why don't we start with the leadership stuff, because that's where I met you, and one of the reasons why I wanted to follow up with you, because last time we ran into each other, we were talking about just how many balls you were juggling up in the air, all your interests and things of that nature. So, what grade were you in when you did the Springfield Laces program?
I think I was right before. Like, I think I was just right before going into college, so it was like 12th grade plus, I guess. So.
Oh,
yeah.
So for our listeners who don't know, me and a couple of my friends used to run this program called the Laces program at Springfield College, where we would have youth come in and we'd do a youth leadership group for 2 weeks. First week, we'd just do a lot of leadership activities. We'd take them out to East Campus, which was a ropes course area, to do a lot of like positive challenges, and high ropes and low ropes courses. And then the second week they would come in and stay in the dorms and work on doing some community give back programs. They would kind of see what interest they had there, and then they would do some research and then do a presentation at the end of the year. Sounds about right? Right. And in between they got to sample some really good food, go swimming, rock climbing, a lot of fun stuff. Long weeks, but really fun and really solidifying the groups that we were with. So really cool that you were able to do that. So not to put you on the spot, but what was one of the biggest takeaways you got from the leadership program?
Let's see. I mean, kind of tough. The presentation I remember was kind of tough with public speaking, but like throughout that, I've been developing it more with everything I've done through my work and Marines. I have to public speak all the time, and it's actually the friendships. I mean, it was over 10 years ago, and here we are today. So
right, yeah.
I mean, I learned a lot. I mean, it was again a leadership course, so I mean, it was just an add to my utility belt, I guess, of things I've learned throughout my life. So
that reference to a utility belt like really fits into my office.
Really?
Right?
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, we're in my office right now, and it's just covered with superhero Captain America stuff. So every time I hear utility belt, obviously I go Batman route, and it just kind of connects. So it's funny to me to hear that the speaking was really tough, because I remember, I think you were in my group, that you're just like boisterous in general, right? So you have this quality to you where you're funny, right? Take the compliment.
Yeah, take it. Me.
You're funny, but you also are a pretty mean dancer from what we saw at the restaurant.
Oh, you remember that, huh?
So it's funny to hear that, like, the public speaking was a little bit of a intense thing for you.
Yeah, I mean, I've never really liked being out in the spotlight. I mean, even my birthday, I don't even tell people my birthday. Actually, it was a couple weeks ago, and nobody at work knew until like 3 days after. So.
Well, you work in Texas Roadhouse.
Yes.
And we know birthday surprises there are something special, right?
Oh,
there's a saddle, there's Great. So that was the Springfield leadership group. Have you done other leadership groups?
Let's see. Before that, right before that, I went to Leadership Academy, which was through my high school, which was for my NJROTC program. So I was down in Newport, Rhode Island, and that's actually where they train like naval officers as well. So I was able to do different things there, and a leadership course, and I learned to sail and different stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I was actually just talking about that last week to somebody. And then, I guess after a couple of weeks of learning, like at Roadhouse serving, I kind of became, the training coordinator. So I actually was in charge of all the training that happened there.
Nice.
And then from there, it bumped me up to a corporate trainer. So that's where I was going up, opening different stores for Texas Roadhouse. And, again, it's like you basically, on a corporate level, they have, all these classrooms, and it's teaching, but teaching the menu, teaching the culture, and then just presentations and just public speaking. So instead of having one or two servers I'm training, I'm having like a group of 20, 25, and all eyes on me. So it's like no room for mistakes, but it's all good fun at the same time. And then, of course, Marine Corps is just surrounded by leadership,
right? Yeah,
programs. So
that's great.
And then I'm still constantly learning. I mean, I'm in my way of getting promoted. I mean, I have a couple junior Marines under me right now that I'm mentoring. So I guess I'm in that leadership role. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's you're so humble about it. You're like, well, I guess
I guess it's
I'm
like
in a leadership role.
Like I said, I don't like the spotlight. I always
Right.
try to stay humble.
But I mean, I think that's really great with presenting and kind of teaching, is that you have to find an attitude that really fits for you. I'm sure you've experienced a lot with going through Marines and boot camp and things of that nature. A lot of different teaching styles or a lot of leadership styles, and really finding one that fits your personality is going to make it 100 times better for you, but also 100 times better for the people that you're bringing up with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's funny you say that because, like, I see that the same way because I've been surrounded by different leaders as well, and the way I see it, it's like you don't always have to like their style of leadership, but at least you learn something from their leadership. Is that's what I take away from.
Right.
So, like, say like this, it's like a room where you're building a house. It's like you're pulling different things from other people's leadership that you want to add to like your room. So you don't like their curtains, but you want your curtains a certain way. So it's like it's your certain way of like you're building yourself at the same time, but learning from other people. I guess that's the best way to say it.
No, I think that analogy of like building a room or building a house is really smart, because when you think about it, is every house you've stayed at, there's probably been really positive things you've liked about it or things you didn't like about it, and you kind of keep that in your mind, and you're like, oh, when I make my own house, I'm not going to have these shelves, I'm going to have these shelves or these curtains, like you're saying. And that applies really through anything, but specifically through leadership and training and teaching. So I really dig that. That's really cool. And I think that's one of the things I really focus on too, is I tell people when I counsel them, they think, oh, you're the business person. That's not the word I want. You're the professional. That's the one I want.
Professional.
I'll edit that out. You're the professional, so I'm going to sit and you're going to talk to me and tell me what to do, and then I'll choose if I want to do it or not. But I think my biggest thing is I learn just as much from the people who come in through the door, who I coach through personal training or through nutritional counseling or through therapy. I like to learn from them too, and really I think that creates a more solid relationship when you're trying to help people out or teach people, is if you can get something from what they bring to it, they'll feel valued, and that will go a longer way than if I'm just like, hey, do this and work on breathing and eat right and do that, but I'm not going to tell you anything else. You just need to listen. So very valid point. So I know I mentioned this before we started, but I really want to get into your call sign. Can you let people know what that is? Is that?
Yeah, I guess I could say. Yeah, I mean, I don't really talk too much about it, but yeah. I mean, I go by call sign Jester because, I mean, I use humor a lot for different situations. I mean, comic relief. I mean, especially when I'm out with, like, Marines and stuff like that. Like, there's times where situations where it's just, like, I mean, like any other job, you just don't want to be there, or just it's tough. And, I mean, I'll crack a joke, and it's just kind of be fun to be with, and it kind of stuck, so.
Right, so did you start that, or did someone? I
kind of started it. I said it, and then it just, like, kind of carried on from there, and now it's like on everything I own. It's like the Jester is like the Court Jester. It's like
it's a cool name though. Yeah. Like, and paired with, like, I know that sometimes you have like the Punisher symbol a lot too. So I've just through your social media accounts and talking to you, it's like every time I see the Punisher, I immediately think of that call sign and you now, just because of the exposure to it.
Oh, I never thought about it that way. I guess so that's funny.
Which is pretty cool because, like we said, like I saw you one summer years ago, 10 years ago, and bumped into you randomly, but like still can have a conversation about how you're doing and checking in. And,
absolutely, yeah. I recognize you right away too. It's like I've been following you since too, and it's seeing all this like stuff that you've been doing. I mean, your office right now is actually really cool to look at and listen to your journey too. So,
I appreciate that, man. So where are you at now, right now? Because you said you're juggling a bunch of stuff. If you had to lay out like the future for you, like what does that look like? What are you thinking about?
That's tough. I felt like that question was coming up soon, but to be honest, I'm not too exactly sure. I'm at that point right now where I guess you call it a crossroad, where I have a lot of opportunities, but I'm trying to figure out right now is which direction I want to focus most of my energy towards, because there's 3 different careers I've been going to right now, and I get into real estate. The main reason why I got into real estate in the first place was, honestly, I hated real estate. I was looking for a house.
Yeah.
No one was taking me serious because I was young, and I was like, I was still looking, and I kind of was like turned off by real estate. And then one day somebody gave me their card at the Roadhouse, which was funny, and he was Kirk Weingarten. I remember his name, and he just said like, dude, I love your style, I love your energy. I was like, did you ever think about doing real estate? And at the same time, in my head, I was just kind of complacent where I was. Like, I want to do something different. And I never thought about real estate, but I was like, maybe I'll give it a try. I gave him a call and sat down, went to a business meeting, listened to him talk, and then got more into it. And it was just a learning experience. And I was talking on the phones, talking to people. Just grabbing listings, just having normal conversations with people over the phone. And I started liking it and just learning a skill. And he was telling me all this money I can make. And I just remember in the beginning, it's like it never was about the money. It's just like I just wanted to learn something different. And again, like adding something to my utility belt. And it started blowing up, but I put that aside for a little bit because at Roadhouse right now they need help because our marketing manager, or market partner I should say, he's out right now. He is up in New Hampshire running that store. Mm-hmm. It's like a promotion because that's our training store. So I'm there full time. I'm there full time, and he asked me before he left if I wanted to be a salary manager and like basically go further with the company. And that's something, I've been there forever. I started as a busboy, and now I am like leading shifts, running shifts, opening stores. And it's great, but it's not something I originally wanted to do. It's just something I kind of developed and got better with, and it's just second nature there. Right. And then on the other hand, we have the Marine Corps, where it's like, I love it. I love the benefits. I love everything I do. And again, it's not about the money. Nobody joins the Marine Corps for the money. And it's just it's a lot of learning I've developed with the Marine Corps, and it's like any other job. There's days where it sucks, and there's days when it's awesome. And then I know when I do leave the Marine Corps, I know I would regret it later down the road because it's still a fun job, and I've built a lot of memories and friendships and bonds that I couldn't do outside the Marine Corps. Right. So right now, I'm at a crossroads trying to figure out where I want to focus most of my energy to build and develop myself.
Nice, very cool. I think one of the things I'd like to get into, and we can do it now if you want to, or if we can do it in a couple minutes, is that bond that you mentioned with the Marine Corps. Mm-hmm. I've been, Jocko.
Jocko, it sounds familiar.
I can't remember his last name. He has a podcast. He's on Joe Rogan all the time.
Huh. I'm going to have to look him up.
Well, anyways, you can look him up, but I believe he was a Marine. Mm-hmm. He's got a podcast that's really cool, and I was actually listening to him either on Tim Ferriss or Joe Rogan one of the times he's come on, and they were talking about just the brotherhood that kind of is created through going through some serious stuff or spending so much time together, and that how a lot of times if you step away from that, it's like you're actually missing family members, and it becomes really pertinent. You kind of hinted at that a little bit about like stepping away and having a difference. Would you agree with that?
No, yeah, absolutely. You gotta think of it like a sports team. Think of your favorite sports team. If you're on it and you're trained together, you get this bond. You guys are really good at what you do, and then once maybe you get benched and you see your team doing all this without you, or you get hurt or something like that, and you can't really be there for them, but you want to be part of that, and it's kind of hurt to be away from that. And again, especially with the Marine Corps or any military in general, it's I'm trying to say the best way to put this. It's like your mind has to be, before we ever do anything, our mind has to be set with home. So, or our mind should be fine with home. So if you have something going on at home, your mind shouldn't be over there. If it's financial, boyfriend, girlfriend, significant other, anything like that. You want to make sure everything there is like all set, like good, like fine. So when you are with your team or whatever, your focus is with them, not back at home. So, and it's a bond that we do build because, I mean, we've been through a lot. We bleed, we sweat, we laugh, we cry all together, and you don't get that with like normal like coworkers. I mean, some might, but like for us, I mean, there's days where we have it, but like there's days where it's hard. I'm just trying to figure out where to put this. Like there's days where it's just like you had it. It's like you're rock bottom, but all you have is each other. And
right.
So
that's amazing, man. And I can tell just how it's hard to put words to it, right? Because it's you're going through something so intense that other people probably don't understand. They probably glimpse a little bit about that, but being in the mix like that and being together and having each other as supports day in and day out through the good and the bad, that's something that we don't really see all the time in just everyday life, right? Like I can come in here and know that the office staff is going to support me through my billing or whatever, but that's just not as anywhere near as intense as what you're talking about. And so I think it makes sense to like, it's really hard to convey that point. I do like that topic though of being present, right? That's what it sounded like you were alluding to, is like making sure you're good to go so that your mind isn't distracted by these other things going on, important things, right? But like you're in that moment, you're mindful and you're present in that moment so that you guys can be there for each other.
Absolutely.
Has that carried out into any of your other endeavors, that mindfulness or that presentness?
Explain.
So that ability to be you're juggling a lot of stuff, that ability to be present in this one aspect that you're doing in that moment, as opposed to your mind being on like Texas Roadhouse while you're doing real estate or your own catering line like you were talking about.
No, it's tough because there's times where you just got to shut off one thing. I know what you're saying, shut off one thing so you can focus on another thing. And that's where it's tough right now for me because I'm trying to, that's what I was saying when I was at a crossroads where I'm trying to focus most of my energy in one aspect instead of focusing on all like 4 or 5 where I'm juggling. Like I'm doing well, but I know I could do much better in one area instead of all 5 areas. It's like, but what you're saying with the whole shutting off, and I guess I have a great team with my team, my Marines. They're all training. They do their own thing. So when I'm a step away at the same time, I know they're comfortable what they're doing, and I can focus on work. And it's funny because my boss is the same way right now. He's down in North Carolina with family stuff, but he knows he's able to do that because the team that he set up back home, it can run the restaurant for him instead of like having to be home like worried, stressed out about the family stuff that he's going on, and then have to worry about what's going on at home. Is the restaurant going to be okay? Is it going to be burnt out when I get back? So.
Right. Which is a valid fear for restaurants.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially if you're grilling a lot. What do you think has been really helpful for you to and again, like shutting down is a good way to say, but also just focusing on the here and now, right? Like you can still think about that, still have those thoughts, but taking that pull, that attraction that's pulling you away and bringing it back to like what you're doing in that moment. What's been most helpful for that for you?
I think it really honestly it's just the people I surround myself with. Like when I'm at work, I'm with those managers and they know they need me, so I want to be there for them, and I'm just constantly working, my hands on and checking in with them. They're checking on me, and then same with the Marines. Like, well, while we're doing our stuff, it's like we're looking out for each other. I mean, we're as strong as the guy to the left or right of us. So, I mean, and just in my personal life, just surrounding myself with positive people all the time. So.
Right. You were just saying that you're going to see Endgame tonight.
Yes, I am.
And that you one of your buddies dropped out, but you were able to pick up another buddy to go with you. So probably good community of people around.
Yeah, absolutely. Which I try to, because I mean, I've been through like 2019 has been a pretty rough year for me. And all things considering, I'm doing pretty well for myself, and
I'm glad to hear
and
that.
thank you. And just but again, it's I have to thank the people I've been surrounding myself with, like. Just the positive energy. It's like I try to stay away from negativity, a lot of drama. I mean, you can't escape it. I mean, you got to figure out a way to embrace it and overcome those adversities. But But at the same time, when you're surrounding yourself with these positive people, it gives you a little edge on dealing with certain things. So.
Right. Have you ever heard of the law of attraction, that theory of the law of attraction? Just for those listening, the basic rundown of it, I guess, would be what you put out into the universe is kind of what you get back from the universe. So if you're constantly putting negativity out, that's what's going to flavor your lens of how you take things back in. And if you put positivity out, that's how it kind of comes back. And that's just what kind of screamed out to me when you're talking about that. Really trying to stay away from the negative stuff, even though like you're not in a bubble, so it's gonna influence your sphere. But really taking that and kind of twisting it on its head and trying to find the positive light in some of the negative stuff that does happen to us, which is really tough.
Yeah,
I think that's the hardest thing for anyone to really do, because we get stuck in this, especially if we go through something like crazy significant. We can feel like victims, and sometimes we are victims of those situations, but then we can just wallow in that place if we let ourselves. And I don't mean like, oh, don't have emotion. I mean like allow yourself that space to have that emotion, and then at some point there's this idea of, okay, what's my responsibility in this situation? Not for what happened, but for how I can start moving forward.
Yeah, and it's the things you do in those times that really like define you. It's like you can either take those like times where it's hard times, of course, and you just like mope around, you sit around, you get unmotivated, and there's a time to mourn, there's a time to like, I guess, feel sorry for yourself, but then there's also a place where you need to get up and you gotta start getting back, like your life is still going, things around you are still happening, and you gotta make sure you gotta keep on going, or else like you can't stay stagnant or complacent.
Right, and so I've actually been listening. It's really funny because I was at my sister's house the other day and we watched an episode of Forged in Fire. Have you seen that?
No, I heard about it though.
It's I can't remember what channel it's on. Maybe Discovery or something. It's this idea of they have forgers come in and they're like, okay, you have to make this knife. There's 4 of them. And they have to make some knife or sword, and they don't really get the plans for it. They see what the knife is, they can feel it, and then it's not like they get unlimited metal. They're like, oh, but you have to use this bumper of this truck to make the knife. So they have to melt it down and condition it. Not that that's really important, but there was a saying when we were watching an episode recently that's really resonated with me in this idea of simple versus easy, right? We can confuse those two a lot. That like, oh, simple means easy. So if something's simple, it should be an easy time to do it. But they're definitely not the same thing. And the example they used in the show was running a marathon is simple, right? You just run for 26.2 miles. Yeah. That's the only thing you have to do is run that far. It's not easy by any means. And I think just that looking at the connotation of those two words and how they often get used for each other kind of fits into what we're talking about, right? Like the idea of turning something around or making a change it's simple in theory, that you have to look at what's going on for you and you have to change it to this, but it's definitely not the easiest thing to do.
Yeah, completely, and I agree completely. And it's the same way where I'm easy, like I'm great at giving somebody advice, but then taking my own advice, it's also tough too. It's like sometimes I'm playing devil's advocate, or I feel like I can't think of the word right now. A hypocrite when I will tell somebody something, because it's easy looking from the outside, but from the inside, it's like you might be dealing with the same thing, but it's hard because you got that fog around you.
Oh yeah, when you're too close to something, it's really hard to pierce that veil of uncertainty or whatever it is, and sometimes we lie to ourselves about what it is. It's like no, this is not an issue, but then you can go to your buddy and you're like, oh well, maybe you should work on this. It's the same exact thing, but you're just like, oh no. I mean, I think the biggest thing I hear is like self-care, right? Like my job is to help people with self-care and get them through some of the struggles that they're dealing with, whether they're anxious or they've had a traumatic experience or if they have ADHD or whatever it is. And, you know, that common phrase you always say is there's 2. Put your oxygen mask on so you can help other people, or you can't pour from an empty cup. And you hear that all the time. That's what you have to do. And I know my personality is like, I know what I need to do,
Yeah.
but I'm like, no, I have to be there for this person. I have to do this. I have to follow up. There, I have like 18 things going on, and sometimes I really just have to like emotionally slap myself in the face and say, hey, go for that run.
Yeah.
Do this thing. For me, I love meditating.
That's something I've been slowly trying to
It's
do.
amazing. But if you were to ask me the last time I meditated, it was probably weeks ago because we've been moving and we've been working, you know, the nonprofit we've been working on and just a whole bunch of stuff, the podcasts.
Yeah.
And so I always talk about the importance of meditation. And then I get home and I'm like, oh, I should meditate tonight. Let's do it. And then I'm like, oh, Chopped is on. Maybe I'll watch Chopped instead. And that's a whole nother podcast I could talk to you about. Is food
Just
and
Chopped.
cooking and Chopped.
Oh, same here.
But I think you're right. It's really easy to be that person for other people, and if you don't have those type of people surrounding you, it's really hard for you to be that person for yourself.
Absolutely.
And what I've gotten from just this brief moment talking with you is that community is a huge thing for you. Even the very beginning when we were talking about your story, you're like, oh, oldest son, you know, just really have to be this model for people, and like, I don't know if you said pressure, but feeling like you have to achieve. And that comes from a sense of not necessarily, and I don't want to speak for you, but the sense I got was not necessarily a bunch of people putting that pressure on you, even though there might be some, but you
It's really
feeling,
just myself.
yeah, you feeling like the onus to be like, okay, I got to lead and be a role model for this stuff. What when do you think you really realized having supporting? This is a weird question because like you could pontificate about this all the time and just be like, oh, of course you need a supportive cast of characters in your life. But when did that really sink in for you? Like maybe you had people who weren't as supportive and you had to like cut them loose or make decisions on what to invest your time in.
Well, I mean, I just remember somebody I remember hearing or somebody telling me it's like you're the company you bled in or something like that. And I just remember I was just overworking myself and just getting to that point where it's like all I do was work, and I was getting like complacent with working. I loved working, but it was all I knew, and I was getting tired out. I was getting run down, but then at the same time I was surrounded by all these people doing the same thing, and you can tell they were like getting run down because they're just working hours. All they do is work. They go home, sleep, wake up, do it all over again. And I kind of like tweaked in me a little bit. It's like maybe it's like just change the attitude a little bit, and you can slowly see it, like it crack a joke or something, and you can see the smiles, and it gets contagious. And then I figured I can make a change that way. And then at the same time, I was like, I kind of need that in my life, where like there's days where I'm just like run down, and I just need just a little pick me up or somebody telling me something, and just somebody to talk to. And then I just not even reached out. It's just like positive energy just attracts positive energy. And then just slowly I've just had people that just come by, and then even me, I'll just send a text message every once in a while. It's like, hey, just hope you're doing everything all right. It's like, just want to say, hey, thank you for everything you're doing, or I appreciate you, just something simple like that. And they'll brighten their day, and they're like, yeah, well, thank you so much. And they do the same thing every once in a while for me. It's just, It's just some of those little random acts of kindness and random acts of just like something, just give somebody.
And that, I think that speaks to an amazing point too, that gratitude can be really regulating on yourself, like really, really sharing gratitude with other people, and giving back to other people. It sounds kind of counterintuitive. It's like, hey, be gracious, show your gratitude, give back, and make you feel good. But really it is, because like when you look at it, and we could get into a bunch of science on the nervous system and emotions and mental health, but I do that a lot. So I'm going to spare the listeners a little bit of this, but the idea of coming from a place of being gracious and showing gratitude is a place of calmness in your nervous system. And you can kind of biohack some of your emotions by actually investing in gratitude and giving back. It's one of the biggest things I work with like kids with anxiety who may be doing homeschooling because of their anxiety. One of the things I'll tell their parents is, okay, this is where you're at, but they still need to be invested in their community. They still need to be present, and they need to kind of work on their anxiety through a way that's not just in your face confrontation, but a way that helps them regulate themselves. And one of the biggest things is to give back. Go to a soup kitchen. Go to, like that MSPCA or whatever, and kind of give back to the community. And I'm gonna go on and on.
Yeah, no,
just stop me now. But like, the idea is pretty amazing to biohack yourself, and by being gracious is a concept that I think a lot of like the older generations have learned, or like the monks, like Buddhist monks and stuff. They know all about that stuff. And I think we lose that sometimes because we're so focused on ourselves, or what we need to do for ourselves,
or what we think we need to do.
Right. Yeah. Valid point. So very cool stuff. So I know you have a couple more minutes left.
Yeah. So I got all the time for you. So.
Oh, good. Yeah. Hey, I like to hear it. It makes me feel good. See, practicing gratitude. Right?
Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit about your fitness regime, because I feel like I'd be remiss if having Marine here and not talking about it. Has fitness always been like an important thing in your life, or?
It has. I mean, for the most part, I've always liked to be physically fit. I've liked running. Oh, nobody likes running. I don't know what anybody says they like running. I don't like running. I'm a Marine. We run, and I still don't like running. I just gotten better at it. I'm not the best runner, but I've gotten better at it.
That's what I tell people too. Is like, I have to work really hard when I run, but if you want a couch move, I'm your guy.
Yeah. But no, I'm trying to think. Honestly, since I was younger, I was always into like taking Taekwondo or doing some sports and stuff like that. It was never really something I thought about. It just kind of like was just a part of me. And like through like the Marine Corps, it actually has helped because it keeps me from being complacent. And like we have a physical fitness test that I just did like a couple last week actually. And so like half the year you're training for a physical fitness test, and then after you finish that, you're like, okay, you think you can relax, but no, like as soon as that happens, then now you're training for our combat fitness test, which is like the second half of the year. So you're constantly training and putting your body, I guess, not being complacent. So, that's one of the big things I love about the Marine Corps. It's kind of my own personal trainer. They're pushing me to do better because again, it's like, it's not only just for myself, it's also for the guys that left and right of me. It's like I want to be able to be efficient in all aspects for not just physical health, but like mental health as well. So
right, it's like built-in accountability.
Absolutely.
But like legit.
Yeah.
Not just like, oh, you're not going for a run today? Okay, I'm gonna defriend you or whatever. It's like, oh no, you have to kind of keep up with the group, with the team. So one of my favorite questions to ask people, we haven't done on the podcast yet, but in general, when we talk about exercise and things of that nature, I think you hit it with the mental health too. Mm-hmm. What are some of the benefits you get from like a really good workout?
I'm trying to think. I never even thought about it. It's like, you always have that runner's high after you run. You just like that feeling you get. But I just like I like setting these goals for myself and being able to accomplish them. Like, so like I wanna lift this next week, or I wanna get to this certain point, and then I get to it, and it's like, was it easy? And then just taking it and learning the science behind it, and then just like building onto it. And it's like, all right, so I did that. That was fun. That was tough. Let's what can I do now? It's like, and just kind of like, at the same time, it was like setting these goals for myself. It also, not just in the workout, it also puts me in that mental state of not just in the gym or other physical aspects, but like other aspects, like, oh, well, I just did this, I can do that. And then if I go to work, well, I had a good day, but how could it have been better? How could I have changed it this way? How could I have made it more efficient at work? And then even through Marine Corps, it's like yeah, we accomplished all this, but what didn't we do? What could we had more time to do this if we just focused on something else? And it's just setting these goals. So again, maybe just like, okay, I lifted 10 more pounds than I did last week, but then what can I do next week? So it's like, it's just a goal, but at the same time, it's setting yourself goals and pushing yourself to do it.
Right, and that's really prevalent, right? Like being able to monitor your progress and have that like, okay, look, this is where I was before, this is where I am now. It gives you a clear delineation of like, oh, I can exert myself mentally and physically to this point to achieve. That can bleed into all this other stuff. And I like what you're talking about. It's almost like adaptability of, oh, okay, my gym session was really good because I went up 10 pounds. And that seems trivial to a lot of people who maybe don't lift or don't get it. Like, oh, cool, you can lift 10 extra pounds. But a lot of effort goes into that 10 extra pounds. There's a lot of mental, a lot of physical, deadlifting for sure, right? Like as you add pounds to that, you're like, holy crap, that was tough.
Yeah.
But I know I can hit that, so I'm gonna push myself a little bit further within reason. But that bleeds over to a lot of stuff. Is exerting that control and that will can really help adapt and move forward for a lot of other things too.
Yeah, so that discipline.
I like the way you went with that. I was meaning like, oh, do you feel less anxious or
Oh no.
oh, my lung capacity is much better. But like that's a key thing that I think a lot of people don't focus on, is that you're not in isolation when you do anything, right? It bleeds in like art or, changing your diet or getting some sleep. If it was just in that one area that you see improvement, then it'd be like, I don't know how much I want to do this. But as it bleeds into other things, you can see how it's all interconnected, and you make improvements on one area, it kind of flows. Kind of what you're saying is when you put that philosophy out there, you put that good energy out there, stuff just kind of naturally flows together.
Yeah, it's kind of like the cloud. Like, if you think about your iPhones or Samsung users, I mean, you got your iPhone, you got your Mac, and you got all this, like, all these things that are connected. But, like, obviously, well, I don't know, I forgot where I was going with this, but you can kind of see what I'm saying. It's like you got all these different things, and they are connected in a certain way, even though they're somewhat different. So, but it's your life. So,
right.
I mean, I'm working out one place here, one aspect, but at the same time, it's helping me somewhere else in another aspect that I'm doing. So,
So what is your favorite workout? Like, there's memes out there. It's like, oh, leg day. Everyone hates leg.
Everyone hates leg day.
We know you hate running.
Yeah, honestly.
So what is your favorite workout to do? What do you look forward to doing?
Oh man, it's tough. Like, honestly, I really like swimming. My biggest fear is drowning, actually.
Yeah.
So which is funny because it just made me an even better swimmer because of my fear of drowning. So I guess that swimming is a good one. But when it comes to like weightlifting, I don't know. I like the bench. I like being able to push my own body weight and just being. I guess that's the definition of strength. And then, I mean, leg day. I've gotten better with it. I still don't like leg day because I'm always on my feet. So like, if I do one leg day, I'm just wobbling all day and looking like I need a sandwich or something. But no, I want to say either like swimming or like benching. It's just one of my favorites. Swimming
is a great equalizer too, because you can be really strong and be a terrible swimmer. I remember, so I fell downstairs when I was little, and my right shoulder is messed up from that. If I do too much with that, or if I carry too much on one side, I can feel it in my neck and my shoulder. And so swimming's really therapeutic for me. I'm not a great swimmer, but like I feel confident in my ability to swim. But sometimes I get in the pool and then I see like 80-year-old ladies who just don't stop.
Yeah,
they just don't stop.
And
I'm like, what is going on? And it's a cool perception because it's like you can be the toughest guy, you can bench the most, but like there's always going to be someone who does something better than you. Sometimes I like to define myself as, I like fitness. I've overcome a lot of stuff with my own my journey with that and nutrition. And, not to sound cocky, but I feel confident in that. Yeah. And then I go to the pool and I'm just like, damn. This 80-year-old lady is just lapping me left and right.
No, it's funny you say that because like the way I think about it is like if you're at the point where like you're the strongest person in the room, it's like leave the room and find someone who's stronger. It's like because at that point you're gonna start getting complacent, and you don't really. It's hard to set those goals when you think you're already on top of. Like if you think you know it all, you don't. It's like right. So yeah, I guess the aspect where you're saying is like it's perfect because like I never say it, like I try to stay humble. I'm never saying I'm the better at best at this, best at that. But like once I feel myself getting to these goals, it's like I want more. And it's just not being not happy what I'm at. It's just getting that ambition of just like there's more I can do and how can I better myself at this aspect. So.
It's a growth model, right?
Yeah,
you're really looking to be like, it's not to be the cockiest, even though it's some kind of you know, if you have a good set with benching, like there is some cockiness to it. You're like, oh, I just put that up. But it's more of that growth factor in the sense of like, oh, I want to do better. And for me, and people are gonna love this or hate it, that's why I love calisthenics, is that, you know, it's great for progression, it's great for regression too. So if I'm doing too many pull-ups and I get like bursitis in my arm or something, I can easily regress but still work on those skills, even by doing lightweight you know, door frame kind of pulls. I can still work some of those muscles and get a nice workout in, but not be doing the pull-ups and putting a lot of tension on that. Or the same thing with push-ups. You can easily regress and still continue your progress. But at some point, you're going to be able to do like however many push-ups, and you can continue to go for numbers, or you can start taking limbs away and really getting proficient at these higher level things. Like for me, bridging, I'm really confident in my bridging. I love doing bridges.
Yeah, I've seen those.
I'm still working on, you know, I can drop down into a bridge. I can get up that way, but I'm still working on the kick over because it just scares me. I can do it. I'm just scared. So I'm working on that. But things like the front lever or muscle ups, like I can do them, but not proficiently. So there's always room to improve. So I love that fact that like, hey, I may be really good at this thing, but there's a bunch of other things I can continue to work on too. So I have this room. I'm never going to get bored with hanging from a bar. I'm never going to get bored with using my weight to move or work on my movement patterns. So it's fun.
Oh yeah, I'm just thinking about it. Yeah, it's like right on. It's like, I mean, yeah, there's days where like I get up and I mean, you choose how your day is going to be. I mean, if it's a rainy day, you can say it's going to suck all day, but I mean, and when it comes down to it, it's you make your day. It's like, how do you want your day to be? You want to get up and first thing you do is jump on your phone, social media, or you want to get up and do a couple push-ups or go for like a run. I mean, that just sets the course of how the rest of the day is going to be. So,
one of my favorite things to work on when I wake up is breath control. And in yoga, there's a lot of like locks you can do with like stomach vacuums and things of that nature. And I find that if I just spend 5 minutes doing that stuff, I instantly have more energy than if I was to down, like, I still drink coffee, but like if I was to down a huge coffee, this gives me more energy, and it evens my mood out a lot more because it's you know, just this, you know, creation of self, like creating that fire breath within. So it's a fun breathing technique. Sometimes I don't do it, just like the meditation.
Yeah,
you know,
like,
but
you want to say you do it, and some days you're like, yeah.
Yeah, because you have to do that stuff on an empty stomach, otherwise you're gonna make yourself throw up. And sometimes I'm like, man, I just want some almond butter and bananas. So I'll just go right to that. And then I'm like, oh, I can't do it right now, but I'll do it later. I like that philosophy though. Like you do have that choice. If it's my daughter the other day actually said to me, it was kind of gloomy out, and she's like, I'm gonna wear all rainbows today, and I was like, that's cool. Why are you doing that? And she's like, I want the sun to come out. And if I wear all rainbows, it's going to make it a sunnier day. And I was like, wow. I was like really impressed.
Yeah, daughter's a philosopher right there.
I know. She's giving me a run for my money. All right, I got a couple more questions and then we'll end. So there's 2 standard questions, but before we get to those, I like to end on those. Are you still connected with any of those people you went through the LACES program with?
Yeah, I mean, there's Abel Roger. I always call him Rodriguez. His name's Rodriguez, but it's just an inside joke. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was funny because I mean, we were somewhat close, not too much in high school. And his dad, like one day they came to the restaurant, and his dad's like, yeah, he's home all the time. He's like, he needs to go out more. And it's like, ever since then, it's just, I mean, all we've done was hang out. I mean, we went backpacking last year up in the White Mountains, and I mean, so yeah, there's a couple of good. I mean, Aaron Dunca, I followed him a couple of times too on Facebook, and he's doing some stuff as well. So, but yeah, mainly just Abel, like me and him are really super close now too. So.
Nice, that's awesome.
Yeah,
we still got to set up that Mount Washington.
Oh yeah,
hike at some point.
Oh please, I've been itching for one. So, nice. And the weather's getting nice. So.
Yeah, Up there, it's always relative.
Yeah.
All right, so last two questions. The first one is, what superpower would you want if you could pick any superpower?
Wow, that is a tough one. Part of me wants to say read minds, but at the same time, it's like I really don't want to know what people are thinking half the time.
That's fair.
Yeah, maybe it's a move thing, like telekinesis, just to move things with my mind. But then again, I feel like I'd get really lazy if I do that too. So,
Right.
oh man, that's
You just bench press with telekinesis.
yeah. It's either maybe be able to fly, or be able to like swim underwater without like to breathe underwater. I think would be really nice too.
Oh, that'd be cool for swimming too.
So it's either or, between either flying or breathing underwater. But I want to say not. I'm gonna go say breathing underwater.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good. All right, so that's that question. And then the flip side of that is, what superpower do you have currently in real life?
Influence. I think honestly, it's like to do not. It's make somebody, I guess, do something that they probably wouldn't normally, not say want to do, but maybe not think they could be able to do. So it's like, man, it's like, again, like something at the gym. It's like, oh, I don't think I could do that. It's like, well, of course, with that attitude, of course you can't do that. So I mean, just kind of like, yeah, I would say influence. So just pushing, like, able to push somebody to do something they can do.
Right.
Yeah.
That's great. For a second there, I thought you were turning evil villain there. Like,
no.
Make people do what they don't want to
do. It's like,
Good. All right. Any last mottos or phrases you want to throw out before we finish?
Man, so many I can think of, but I guess positive energy attracts positive energy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, Johnny, thanks for coming on, man. It's been an
Again, thanks
honor
for
to have
having
you.
me.
Thanks for your service.
Thank you for the support.
Look forward to finding out what happens in your future. You have so many paths to
I know,
go down.
It's almost like to a coin flip right now, where I'm just trying to figure out which direction I want to go in. But I mean, I know I'll be happy either or. It's just looking down the future. What do I want for myself? So.
Nice. So once we get the gym open, I want you to come by.
Oh, absolutely.
So we can have fun on the jungle gyms.
Oh, yeah. Good times. Good
All right,
time.
man. Well, thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for taking the time to listen to our podcast. If you're interested in being a guest, please send us an email at info@theprometheanproject.org. If you're interested in getting more information, you can hit us up at that same email or visit our website, www.theprometheanproject.org. If you like what you're hearing, please feel free to give us a 5-star review or do any kind of review that you feel is necessary. And hit that like, hit that share, let people know what we're doing. And as always, the most important step in any journey is the next one. We'll see you next time on Break the Chains, Find Your Flame.